Hello, genealogists. This is Craig, and this is Just Genealogy. A while back, probably a month, maybe even 6 weeks ago, somebody asked me to talk about the Mecklenburg Declaration. I hope everybody knows what that is, but if you don't, just stick around and we'll talk about it. So, the leading men of Mecklenburg County, North Carolina, met in March and April of 1775. And they decided that they were fed up with the British, so they wanted to do something. A committee was appointed because whenever you're going to do something, you appoint a committee. And that committee drew up resolutions establishing their liberty. And between 19 May and 20 May 1775, delegates assembled in Charlotte, North Carolina, and declared, which is Mecklenburg County, and declared Mecklenburg County independent of Great Britain, established a code of laws for their new government, and placed the Committee of Safety, a common thing that existed in this time period all over the colonies, in charge of the administration. These resolutions were presented to the Continental Congress, but not ratified by the Continental Congress. So there's been a lot of controversy about the Mecklenburg Declaration over the years. But we have probably three pieces that you need to bring together in order to deal with it properly. Now, the first person who really cared about writing anything down about the Mecklenburg Proclamation for posterity was probably Lyman Draper. And Craig Heath has taken the Lyman Draper manuscripts, which are located in the Wisconsin Historical Society, and transcribed, abstracted, done what he does, which is generally between abstract and transcription in my mind, because it's hard to tell without actually going to the microfilm, which is available from the Family History Center Library also. And the Wisconsin Historical Society also exists in a lot of major genealogical libraries. But I use Heath's book as a finding aid to the Draper collection because it allows me to get to the pieces very easily. Now, I have to admit some embarrassment associated with this. We published this book in 2004. Keep that in mind. Where we said never before published. This book, by the noted historian Lyman C. Draper, examines in critical detail the controversy surrounding the alleged Declaration of Independence from Great Britain by the citizens of Mecklenburg County, North Carolina. Draper looks at the scanty contemporaneous evidence, the questionable testimony of eyewitnesses taken many years after the event, and the reasoning and conflicting deductions of other historians before drawing his own conclusions, which may still not please some North Carolinians. So that's the Draper manuscript. Now, about 1905, a man by the name of George W. Graham, a physician, determined to provide he read a manuscript, his manuscript, to the Scotch-Irish Society of America at its meeting in Lexington, Virginia on the 21st of June, 1895. And that was printed in volume 7 of the Transactions of that association. And after that time, between 1895 and 1905, he revised, enlarged, and created several different editions of a pamphlet that dealt with that subject. And because everybody at that point in time seemed to be very interested in it, he published a book. And his preface says, the author will be found to differ with some advocates of the Mecklenburg Declaration in that he acknowledges the verbal errors of the Davie copy of the resolutions, defines the position of the 31st resolves in the controversy, and shows why Martin's History of North Carolina is authentic and therefore contains a correct account of the famous convention in Charlotte on May 19th, 20th, 1775. And basically what he has done is he also has used Draper. But he's come to different conclusions than Draper based on Draper, if that makes any sense. So what we have are two different views of the Mecklenburg Declaration. I leave it up to you to decide which view you wish to pay attention to. Now, recognize that there were individuals involved in this process. And before I get into the names of the individuals, I want to say that in 2004, we never before published the Draper. And this is correct in that this is just the Draper manuscripts relating to the Mecklenburg Declaration without edification or supplementation. Whereas the Graham is what he found in Draper plus his additions. And there are several biographical sketches in both books because that's what Draper did. He created biographical sketches of things. He interviewed people all over the country, that dealt with his issues, or he interviewed people that knew people that dealt with his issues. So the biographical sketches deal with surnames like Polk, Alexander, Brevard, Irwin, McNitt, Balch, Wilson, Morrison, Barry, Flanagan, Graham, McClure, Query, Avery, Kennan, Harris, Reese, Downs, Fjord, Harris, Davidson, Jack, Cummings, and a few others. And those are probably in both books because neither author would have ignored any opportunity to do something genealogical. But what I'd like to add to the mix is an author by the name of Worth S. Ray. And Ray has done books like Tennessee Cousins. He also did a multi-volume set called The Lost Tribes of North Carolina. And part 3 deals with Mecklenburg signers and their neighbors. Bring that in close. And the only problem that I have with Worth is, I don't know where he gets half his stuff, but he does occasionally mention it. But Worth is a very ugly writer from the perspective of he writes tightly in small, very small fonts, and I guarantee that you will need to use a magnifying glass in order to deal with this book. The joy of this book is that unlike Draper, who's not necessarily genealogically driven but event driven, and unlike Graham, who probably had an axe to grind because likely he descends from the multiple Grahams who were involved in the Declaration, Worth really doesn't care. All he's interested in is collecting every tidbit, every nit, every nuance that he can find that relates to Mecklenburg signers. And I believe he does a very good job of that, of drawing together information about these signers that you probably won't find anywhere else, except maybe the individual genealogists who have worked on those families and not published anything. Worth deals from the concept of tribe, and these are the lost tribes, part of the lost tribes of North Carolina, and these are people that came to the valley between the Yadkin and the Catawba rivers, and so he's more interested in the people of that area than he actually is in the Mecklenburg Declaration. It just happens to be that they are adjacent to each other. So what I'd like to do, because this is what I do, and I'm sorry I've taken so long to even talk about these books, but these are the only 3 books that I actually know about that are published by genealogical publishers that deal with the Mecklenburg Declaration, and all of them deal with the issues, some more than others. So I'll, of course, put them up for a discount because that's what I do. So if you type MECK, MECK 20, you will get a 20% discount. Let me write that down because I always forget. On any of these 3 books. First 25 people. And this is Craig, and this is Just Genealogy, finally getting around to talking about the Mecklenburg Declaration and 1775 in North Carolina. And then I leave it to you to search out the various nuances of how people feel about the Declaration. It's a shame it wasn't ratified by Congress, because it would have made things so much easier in the scheme of things. Well, we're very close to 500 subscribers. I would enjoin you to ask a few more of your friends so we can get up to 500 this week maybe. And we're just a couple hours away from 1,000 hours, so just 3,000 more hours to go before I'm a very happy camper. And then you too will be able to buy your Heritage Books coffee cup. Unlike my genealogical coffee cup that has all my surnames on it. Got that for Christmas last year. Etsy is my understanding of where it came from. I drink tea at night. So it is night. It's Friday night. This is for Saturday. Tomorrow's Saturday. And soon we will be talking about the genealogical proof standard and resolving conflict. I wanted to bring to your attention that the Genealogical Institute of Virginia is going to have a virtual fall conference, and Deborah Abbott, Dr. Abbott, is going to be their speaker, connecting the dots, revealing the story. And I need to tell you that if you've never heard Dr. Abbott, you should listen to her. And it's going to cost you $45 if you're not a GREVA member. That's Genealogical Research Institute of Virginia. But the reason why I would be there, except I won't be, because I've already heard the talk that I'm recommending to you to hear, at 11:30 on the 1st of October, Saturday the 1st of October, it will be her second session. Although her first session is Breaking the Brick Wall, Researching in Black and White. Perfect talk. The second talk is More Than a Face on a Spaghetti Can, the Genealogy of Chef Boyardee. So you want to hear this talk on the genealogy of Chef Boyardee and how she got to where she got and the spaghetti can. She also is doing, after lunch, using manuscript collections in genealogical research, and then A Gift of Life, Who's Writing Your Story. But all of which I highly recommend, but the Chef Boyardee piece is like the creme de la creme. So that's there. I got a letter from the Company of Military Historians, which I've been a member of for a very long time, probably 25 years. They're in trouble from the perspective of they need members in order to survive, and there is an application, and if you're interested in joining the company, and it requires that a member of the company sponsor you, and I will be very happy to sponsor anyone who would like to be a member of the Company of Military Historians. They are not genealogical oriented, but they are record oriented, and they are artifact oriented. And I enjoy reading all the time because they're always full of pictures of people. They deal with things like uniforms, so they're very helpful in finding uniforms. They deal with strange things also, like stamps. Kashmir Pulaski, for example, a stamp. They deal with postcards. They deal with uniform plates. As a member of the these plates that go on the front of the, let me get some more because that's not a good. I keep these very close for a while and then I move them around. But military music, for example. This one is Major General Thomas Savage of the Boston Militia, 1679. Those are just the cover art. They also have on the back of these artwork of various uniforms in various time periods. This is Landing Craft Sicily, 1943. So there's a lot of artwork. This is parade march of the 22nd Regiment, New York State Militia, Union Grays, 1862. And anyway, they have put all of their issues on the plates, these things, on a flash drive, which is available for sale, also to members. So if they have a website. If you just Google Company of Military Historians, you'll be able to get to it and see of what value this would be to you. From a genealogical perspective, I don't get much value from it. But because I'm a records guy, I get a lot of value from it. Everything is well footnoted. Everything is, and it's just a joy to read what's in it. So I use it as a method for me to relax when I'm not working on my Ancestry DNA projects. So this has been Craig. Another day of just genealogy. Stay safe. See you tomorrow.